It's officially October 1st. Um, Not much traffic, foot traffic going on this year, but it's finally kind of picking up. Otherwise, nothing else to really report. However, I did want to talk about something from the last uh, little talk I gave on meeting somebody who, with a group of friends, and they saw somebody like in a black coat and a hat, and it freaked them out. And that's kind of a collective thing. Everybody was able to see this person, so who knows? Could have been a real person, right? That kind of thing. I just got to take their word for it uh, that what they were describing was something a little out of the ordinary. But then there's cases where you'll see the guy. I'm assuming it's a guy. Everyone else thinks it looks like a guy. Dressed all in that black, like black coat, trench coat kind of thing. Just very long coatish, with a hat. Usually it's a black hat. I don't remember any other color when it comes to that. Except for side stories about when they're saying different kind of clothing. But as far as like a trench coaty kind of thing, black trench coat, black hat, sometimes tall hat, or they just say hat and tall person, that kind of stuff. But then there's the ones where some people are seeing it and others can't see that figure. And here's one of those stories. It goes back to, let's see. Sent in via email 2007. So this is their visit from 1986. That's quite a long time ago. I'll skip most of this. It comes from the personal story section at bachelorsgrove.com. So if you want to read the rest of the story, find the Tyler Dartez document. So yeah, sent in May 25th, 2007, but this occurred in 1986. Scrolling down. We walked around, took a few pictures, but the winter chill in the air kept us from wanting to stick around too long. As we were almost to the car, I noticed that John and Ken hadn't been talking for a while and seemed to be almost hurried. I thought it was my imagination until John squealed the tires as we drove out of the parking lot. I asked what was up, and he said that guy in black kind of freaked him out and he just wanted to get out of that, quote, creepy ass place. I was surprised and told him truthfully that I hadn't seen anyone but us there. That's when all three of them looked at me strangely. They had just assumed I'd seen him too, as he was. As Natasha said, quote, you could see him plain as day. When I said, plain as day, I never saw anyone, what did he look like? Not one of them could describe him other than he was wearing black with a large black hat. They said they didn't want to look at his face because just looking at him watching us leave was too creepy. John said he saw him at least 3 times on the trail behind us as we were leaving. The evident fear in Ken and John made me take them seriously, as both were big, football-playing athletes, and not prone to frights. The part of this that I find most disturbing is that I'm the only one that didn't see him, and I'm the only one that is alive today. Well, this is his own thing, I guess, but Ken fell asleep at the wheel of his car and died in June of '88. John was killed in a firearm accident in my house 4 months after Ken. My wife, Natasha, was killed in an auto accident almost a year later. All I know is you'll never get me into Bachelors Grove again. And, yeah, so Tyler Dartez in the personal story section. I'll find another one. And this one is also in the personal story section. Unfortunately, it was a post to historychannel.com back in 2003. So the title of the document is Unknown, October 29, 2003. Let's see here. So they're replying to the Haunted Chicago television thing. So I'll probably dig that up and throw this something in here because they describe something from the show. I'll pause for the wind. Okay. The tag on here is Grave Ghost. I guess that's his whatever. I tried to reply and it did not post. So here is the shortened version. I saw the caretaker ghost while playing with a friend in 1972. I was 13 years old at the time. We were looking at some dug up graves when out of nowhere this guy appears from behind a tree and walks behind another tree. We could only see his profile from about 50 feet away. We thought it was just a wanderer, but he kept getting closer and closer, walking very fast from behind one tree to another. So we take off running and he catches up with us on the main path. As I turned around to see his location, he just ran right through us and disappeared in front of us. We screamed our heads off and ran as we never had before. He looked exactly like the caretaker on the show, with a hat and 3/4 length black coat and black shoes. At the time, we never really understood what we had seen. We didn't know of any ghost stories from that cemetery and only believed ghosts to be fictional. There is a much longer version of the story if anyone is interested in the details. Apparently nobody replied to this person's post, and so he never replied. Yeah. So as you can hopefully kind of put it together, these are old stories. Don't take this as gospel, but a lot of the stuff just doesn't end up in the books. A lot of these small details, but you go back, especially in the personal story section, and you go through all these things. You start to see a kind of a pattern. How much of it, are people out there reading this stuff and then faking it, and then it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. Like, these look like legitimate stories, and again, it's one thing as a collective group to see something and then be creeped out. It could just be a regular person, and it's another to where one or two people, whatever, don't see something but others do, and then this last one, where something's running right past you, through you, and then disappearing. That's also been reported in some disappearing car kind of stuff, I believe. Again, don't quote me on that one. We'll get to those kind of stories at some point. I think that needs to be done, the whole phantom car thing. I've been meaning to get to that for years on a document in the paranormal history section, but it just hasn't happened yet. All right. In closing, I'll get to some more stories here and there. Are all these stories true? Maybe, maybe not. You just got to kind of decide for yourself. But do your own investigative work, piece this stuff together. That's the great thing about collecting this information over the years, not even really making it public in the beginning. And then I can personally go back and look at all of it. And then I got my own personal one-on-ones with people here. A lot more of that than I have of emails and all that kind of stuff. Sorry, I keep pausing. I'm just interrupted by planes. So where was I? It doesn't matter, right? I'll be back again. So yeah, in closing, somebody was asking, hey, do you have any other hobbies besides Bachelors Grove? Well, yeah, I got a ton of hobbies. So here's one I'll throw here at the end. If you want to geek out, maybe it'll bore you, maybe it won't. These are the sounds of bats at Bachelors Grove. It's mixed in with insect sounds, so hopefully you hear the difference. It's a device that converts the ultrasonic down to human hearing, so you hear the chirp, 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 chirp. And they do get more interesting, but this is just a general one I did recently, and it's kind of cool. They were like even buzzing my head from time to time. So without further ado, here are the bats.